Nothing prepares you for the amount of grease you work with when you're making pork. How long do you think it takes to cook pork? And do you think that pork absorbs spices easily? Stay with me, this is an interesting one. This pork meal was a treat for my sister on Children's Day, and I decided to share this with you all. So, first thing, when I washed this pork meat, tell me why I ended up with grease on my hand. Why was my hand oily? Because I wash ordinary meat. I didn't understand. And I now put the meat on fire and look at that. I know that all meats have their own oil, they all have their own oil, but somehow this one was just very obvious. Like it was quite obvious that there's a lot of oil in pork meat. Just look at the amount of oil floating on top of this thing. Like the oil is scary. I've cooked a lot of meats and I've also cut them up after cooking, and I didn't have as much grease as I did with this pork meat. Because why did I cut cooked meat and I have so much oil on the chopping board? Anyway, I think this is why a lot of people don't consume pork meat, and to think that this meat is very, very tasty. Anyway, in a pan, I put some sesame oil, I put in some garlic, spring onion. I basically toasted all the veggies and added the cooked pork meat, and this was very tasty. Anyway, you must be wondering how long it took me to cook this amount of pork. This wasn't a lot of pork, by the way, but it took me just 32 minutes to cook this pork. And I was pleasantly surprised because somehow I thought it was going to take so much time to cook it. But I think that may also depend on the cut of the meat and maybe on how fresh it is, because this was very fresh. Also, I think if you're making pork, you'd have to actually spice it well, because at first it wasn't as tasty. It didn't absorb the spices easily. So that's to say that you need to spice it well when you're making it to get something tasty. So that was what I did when I stir fried everything together. Look at how beautiful that looks. Thank you all for watching.